All right, welcome to our podcast, Group Bravo. We're talking about dangerous music. Now, what does anyone want to talk about their viewpoint on dangerous music?
So my viewpoint is that, music shouldn't be restricted to anyone. If it shouldn't be, available for kids, their parents can, handle that part. But other than that, I think music should be available to, everyone to listen to, whatever they want.
Yeah, for sure. Now, does anyone have any opinions on how music makes them feel? And if that's dangerous at all? Or if, my opinion, I believe that I feel like there kind of has to be some of those emotions within you before you start acting on them because of the music. But do you guys think otherwise?
Honestly, I definitely agree with that viewpoint. Music inhibits your emotions. If anything, it enhances it. I definitely agree that if music makes you act on those emotions, that was already within you. Music did not make you do that. So yeah, it really just depends on the individual and what they choose to do with said emotion.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Exactly.
I don't necessarily think listening to a particular type of music or a type of song is going to make you want to act out a certain way. I think those feelings and stuff have to already be within you, and then if anything, that just brings it out of you or makes you feel more passionate about what you were already feeling. But I don't think it's just going to change your feelings or attitude drastically.
Yeah, and going back to the whole censorship thing, that's almost more of a consumer problem, because that's more of a self-control. That's on you.
Yeah.
And that's more I can't be seeing this because it makes me feel a certain way. That's again on you if you want to watch that or not. Same thing with listening to it. And it's funny that you mentioned XXX, because that's what I started writing about. That the first thing I thought of, because his music is so emotionally driven. I talked about how music can affect, in some ways it can be technically dangerous, but again, the emotions have to be there. How my driving style changes when I listen to music. If I'm listening to sad music, I drive totally differently than when I am playing upbeat music, and that could endanger me in some way. It could not, but again, that's my own decision that I'm making on my own accord because of the music. So it's if anything, that's on me to not listen to that when I'm in the car, or same thing with party music.
Choice.
Yep.
And honestly, I'm the same way with my driving style. Music definitely influences the way that I drive.
Certain music makes you drive faster.
That's what I'm saying.
I found that if I listen to my regular classical music, then of course you get that little chill vibe and things, depending on what song you have, though.
One thing that I did think about is rap music, for instance. Of course, there's violence and whatever in it, but that's not something that's oh my god, I'm gonna go do that. Or, I'm gonna go do drugs, or whatever. I knew you agreed on that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, there is an argument. Oh, it might desensitize, make people think that everyone does it, but again, that's your decision to go and do that if you're listening to that. So it really is not necessarily the music that's dangerous, because like you were mentioning, even prior to the podcast, that's, their art. The music is a part of them, if you want to talk about that, because that's a really good point.
Because a lot of times people use their art to express their stories and things that they've gone through as life, their journey. And so I don't think we should necessarily put restrictions on people telling their journey in the best way they see fit.
100%, because that goes back to the First Amendment thing he was talking about the other day. That's the one thing that they can't get past as far as an argument. You can't censor it because it's art, it's free speech. You can't really do anything about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's anything else anybody else wants to cover, but
how are we on time?
We are around 3 minutes and 50 seconds.
Okay. Quick question.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel with dangerous music, or so-called dangerous music, and children? Because children are usually
I said, I feel that's not necessarily the job of the artist to protect the children. I feel that's the job of the parent. I mean, they have all these technological things that you can do, parental controls. I feel that's not necessarily the artist's job to change their art to protect the children. And as a parent, not only should you protect them from so-called dangerous music, but if they do hear it, then you have conversations and you explain to them what the music actually is portraying, and that opens up the conversation. So
I just thought of something. I think of it now, talking about parents, and it made me think of dangerous music is almost like a car. Like if you're driving a car you can't handle, that's not the car's fault.
Yeah,
that's the driver's
right.
fault.
Yeah.
If you're getting in a supercar and you're 16, that's your parents' fault for, first of all, letting you drive that car, and second of all, you don't know any better. So
Yeah.
if you're listening to music about shooting people up, doing drugs, and you go and do that, that's on your parents, and that's also on you because you don't
Yeah.
know enough about any of that stuff.
Exactly.
But that's not the car's fault because the car's designed, it's not made for you.
Yeah.
It's not
Right.
made for you. It's
Right.
made for a race car driver or somebody who, has X amount of seat time. Like, that's just not made for you. I just thought of that.
I think if the kids aren't being like monitored, that of course that could like obviously influence them to think maybe this is okay to do, or like this was in a song, this is my favorite singer, and they're saying
Yep.
that. But the parent needs to be on top of that instead
Yeah.
of like them not producing. So I agree with what
Yeah.
you said.
Yeah.
I agree.
Regardless, exactly. Yeah. It's just up to like mentorship.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess now I was thinking music is kind of dangerous, but I guess it's really not. It's really not.
Very nice, very nice.
All right.